So, thank you, Adele. Anybody else?
Dulcie?
Yes?
I remember one time I was with a friend, and she was really upset.
Can you speak up a little more, Maria?
Yeah. I shared this story with my sponsor about a friend that was really having a hard time with one of her children. And she made the remark, and this goes back to that, I think, dropping all concern and dropping, those misperceptions or concepts or whatever about people or our own identity, And she said, what kind of parent would I be if I didn't care or if I wasn't concerned about what's going on with my child, if I didn't care? And I remember sharing that with you, and you said you would be the most loving, caring, nurturing parent. And that was such an awakening for me at that moment, because from way back when I can remember that I thought you have to worry, you have to do all these things, you have to have all these feelings to be a good parent. And it was such an awakening when you said, when I told you what you said, what kind of a parent would I be if I didn't care, if I didn't worry, and all of that? And you said you would be the most loving, caring parent. That was just such a beautiful experience for me. It just woke me up out of that little stupor, thinking the opposite.
Right. And caring doesn't mean fixing. Caring simply means recognizing that right there where that looks like a child, usually in an adult body, is the presence of God living its life out under their own contract, and I free you to do that. I give you the dignity of choice to live your life out the way you need to live it out. That is the most loving, caring thing a person can do with an adult, is to give them the dignity of their choices and the consequences of their decisions, allowing them, not in a punishing way, but allowing people the consequences of their decisions is the most loving thing I can do. Otherwise, I am not minding my own business. And I mentioned the codependency book because those of you who don't know, it's the 3rd edition, and it is magnificently written. It is kid work from beginning to end. And it is how to take care of self, how to keep your eyes on self. But what I wanted to say was, yesterday I made the statement that Barbara Muhl always made: break all attachments or they'll be broken for you. And I was told this morning, under every attachment there is, exists codependency. Without codependency, there would be no attachment. So you may want to look into that work. If you're struggling with the kid, there's a couple of ways to work with the kid. If you're still struggling with kid work, that's the Coda Rooms and the book. Also, The Artist's Way. The Artist's Way is not necessarily for artists, but for fulfillment of the kid. It fulfills whether you want to be a musician, a painter, a writer, an orator, just a mother, just a gardener. It doesn't matter. You don't have to want to paint or write. But whatever it is, the Artist's Way helps you to make a date with yourself every day. You write 3 pages, and then you make dates with that kid and you talk it over with her and say, what would you like to do? I used to take mine to the zoo. She used to love to go to the zoo. She loved to go to fairs. She loved to go to craft shows. She loved to go to things where there were animals and stuff. And her and I would go. I didn't have to go with anybody. I learned to be with myself without having to have a parade behind me or someone in my arm, you know. I didn't have to have arm candy. I could just go and enjoy my own company. So that book is a wonderful tool, and the Coda book is a wonderful tool. And yesterday we read the denial patterns, we read the compliance. Well, all of them have the alternative to what we read. So you can go online under codependency.com or .org, one of those, and you can download that sheet too, and it will give you the alternative to all those patterns and let's call them aspects of codependency, aspects of attaching to this world, people, places, or things, attaching to the dream. The more we break the attachments, the closer we are to not being in this third dimensional hypnosis. The more we are living out of right here, right now, present, God is, I am. And I know some of you have heard me say this and some haven't, but I still love it because it gives me, in fact, I wished I had the license plate. And the Aborigines, they have only 2 terms for time. They don't have before, after, later, never, minutes, hours, days, months. All they have is they say you are either in the now time or in the not now. And any time that I'm off in my head telling a story about he, she, it, or them, I'm in the not now. So that's real simple, you know. We get down to we're either awake or asleep. They're either awake or asleep. I'm either in the now time or in the not now time. No condemnation, no punishment. It just doesn't work. Being in the not now doesn't work. Being asleep doesn't work. It's painful. We suffer. We suffer when we're in the not now. So we can get it down to real simple wording. Okay, who would you be without your script?
Dulcie, this is Jeannie.
Yes, hi Jeannie.
Hi, this is a wonderful workshop. Thank you so much. I just love it.
Oh, thank you, Jeannie.
I was lying in my bed this morning, looking out at my desert view and pondering my divine purpose. And I got up and reread the LA Books Meditation for Today, which is a poem by Emily Dickinson. It goes, "To be alive is power, existence in itself without a further function, omnipotence enough." Mm. And I just was thinking about how at this phase of my life, which is near the end of it, so I don't have all the demands of earlier in my life, just being alive and present and grateful is so wonderful after not being there for all those phases of life when one has to explore the world and find a job and find relationships and all that stuff. And a bird, a very small bird at that moment lit on a creosote bush about 4 feet away from me. And for a minute I was just entranced with the bird. And then I automatically went into a little mantra I say when I see a living creature, and it goes, may you be peaceful, may you be happy, may you have a long and happy life. And as I said that, I had gotten no farther than may you be peaceful, and the bird flew away. And it occurred to me that I had been more present in the awe of the moment before, when I was just one living creature looking at another living creature and feeling its aliveness, than when I was blessing it. And so what I thought of then was Paul Ferrini's meditation a few days ago about how I don't have to fix anything and nothing has to fix me. And I thought even my blessing in that instance felt intrusive. And it's just, maybe all I want to do right now is be fully present for the wonder of life in the moment. And that's all my function is. Maybe that's where I'm at this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, that reminded me, I worked with a very difficult actor for about 5 years, and I mean a pill. And I would go in there with my spiritual blessing every day, inwardly, quietly, blessing this person. And the more I blessed him, the meaner he got and the madder he got. And really later on, I felt the arrogance of me thinking that I'm supposed to, that he needs my blessing. So I quit doing it, and I started saying, you son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. So then I just stopped doing it, and he got nicer and nicer. It was like, what arrogance that I think I'm that I'm supposed to see the Christ of his being. Of course, I was doing it for myself, but finally, after about 5 years, he looked up at me when he was reading something icky in the paper that was going on in the world, and he looked up at me and one day and said, "You know, don't you?" Like that. And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, I've known it for a long time." And we never ever talked about it again. And that was the end of that. But I let him alone. I let him off the friggin' hook of what I was seeing, my perception of what an asshole he was being, And he could be a pretty bad boy and, difficult. And I let him off the hook of seeing him that way and thinking that I could raise his consciousness, for God's sakes, Hello. So anyway, that was quite a lesson. So, thanks for that, Jeannie. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else want to share perception or?
I have a question along the lines of what you just said, because I know we heard like a whole series of a while back of Joel about raising the Son of God up and somebody or seeing the Christ in them, and how and he talks, explicitly how to do that. So along that lines, I guess what you just said is it's important to not do it to change anybody. And then also I know what one thing Lee had brought when I had asked before was to make sure that you have to be in Christ consciousness in order to do that. Like you can't just sit down. I think that if you sit down as, thinking you're going to do something, then it's not going to work. But if you have anything else to say about that.
Perfect. Yeah, the only healing I can ever do for another person is to heal my perception about them. If I'm seeing them sick and think they need spiritual help, I'm in error. I'm the one that's seeing that. So I have to come back within and correct and go, no, I'm looking at humanhood here. I'm not looking at divine, spiritual, living being, living itself out. I have to go back. All the corrections, in fact, the Hunapuna work is all based on a doctor who sat and would see the criminally insane as he corrected what he saw in them within himself. And that's what Joel said. The principle of healing is to correct any misperception of my own, of what that person's going through, and to see only divinity. Do you want to say something? No. You're restless. Pockets is restless, guys. What's going on? He's tired of all this. He says, I'm ready to boogie.
So with that whole thing, where we talked about seeing the Christ and the practice, I think that's such a valuable practice, especially in life. He talks a lot about in family life and with your children and stuff. So the practice is that you would just be in as much Christ conscious, God consciousness as you do before you take that in, and trying to commune with those people or whatever. And he suggested taking one person each day. And when I started to do that, it was really helpful, and I've been thinking about kind of going back to that,
Right.
doing that work again, because I keep hearing those tapes he has, which was several.
Right. I'm seeing it as an external, physical dimension. I'm not seeing it in the fourth dimensional spirit perfection. So I have to correct that. Christy, you've been so quiet this weekend. Nothing. You don't have anything to share? No.
No, I just really enjoyed listening. Thank you.
I have some stuff. This is Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth.
So what I found was on what you were just talking about, when I was thinking that if everyone would just do it my way, I would be happier. I was the one unhappy. And what I found out was, that though I thought I was praying for their God consciousness, I had left myself out instead of realizing that God had put them in my life exactly the way they were, so I could learn my own lesson of thinking that my way was the right way. So that's how I saw God use, the other person as God to teach me, where, I couldn't shift the thinking because of conditioning from how I was taught as a child. So that's what I got out of that.
Right.
That is all.
Right. Yeah, I in my infinite wisdom know what's best for you. Just do it my way and it'll be just fine.
Yeah.
And like you say, and I'm the one sitting there unhappy, right?
Right.
And I was told early on that if I'm over there mowing my neighbor's lawn and I turn around and realize mine's growing up 2 feet high and mine needs watered, it's like take care of your yard, and only when asked. Now that's the other principle with helping other people is when asked. A lot of times we'll butt in and not mind our own business. Like I couldn't figure out why God was allowing my mother to live. Lee, would you get that away from him? He's got one of your one of the garbage. He got something out of the garbage. Anyway, thanks. My mother was a vegetable about 4 years as Alzheimer's. She'd always been over 200 pounds, and she was about 64 pounds for several years. And finally, kind of tied in the bed because she would fall or hit herself or walk. She was not in a good place. And I'd go out to see her, and I was like, why doesn't he take her? Why does she, have to linger and suffer? Because it appeared suffering, tied. It was horrible looking. And I'd come to love her, and she'd bite me, and, it was not fun. But I found that when I would go and she was sound asleep, that I could sit by her in bed and meditate when she was asleep, and there would be this beautiful smile on her face, you know. But what I was going to say was the voice said on the way out there is, what makes you think this has anything to do with you? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa. And then the voice said, we have our contract. So anybody you're looking at, know that they have their contract. They might not even know what it is. You might not know what it is. But it's none of your friggin' business either. It's up to God and that person. And my job is to just do my best to keep my side of the street clean. And if you need help and you ask for help, or someone falls down, even if they don't ask, but obvious they need helped up, you know, or would you like help? That's the other thing. It's different. What's he doing now?
He's in a handkerchief or something.
This kitty, puppy, come here. You can't play over there.
He's got to get into trouble. He's just doesn't have enough to do.
Hey, Dulcie,
Yes.
it's Jay.
Yes, Jay.
And thanks for the weekend. It's just been delightful. I just wanted to toss a plug in for the Artist's Way. Adele and I did it this past year, and it was really nice to have a discipline that was not in the familiar language, although it refers to all these languages that we're all familiar with. And it really just not only that, but in having someone to do it with, either a friend or a lover or whatever, it was really dynamic, the conversations that were brought out of the directed writing that first 3 months. And so I'd just like to say that one of the things that seemed to happen is by taking the eye off the ball or the problem in the way that we were used to addressing it, or the challenges in the way that we appeared to always have been spiritualizing them and addressing it, and coming at it from a different angle allowed things to accelerate in ways that were really, really quite remarkable for both of us. So thanks for recommending that, and thanks for the rest of the wonderful work that you've put into this. This has been delightfully encouraging.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I loved it. I did it 3 or 4 times by myself, and then I remember doing one with Diane. I did Diane's workshop here. It's nice to change languages sometimes. You know, we get to just hearing it in the 12-step venue. We just hear it in Joel. We just hear it. It's so nice. We had a teacher, Paul, and just a different language, and it's a freshness. You see, this is a living message. These are, and Joel, what did he do? He named it the infinite way. Infinite ways of looking at it, seeing it, speaking of it, languaging it, fulfilling it. And that tape we heard Friday night, you probably want to hear it again, that Lee has put on the website. But in there, it talks about self-fulfillment. No matter what you're doing, it's to fulfill God living its life as a Debbie, as a Jay, as a Paulina. That's all that's going on here. That's the only God you'll know is the God within, living its life as. Yes, Lynn.
I've been thinking about my job is managing people.
Fun.
No, it's not, because it involves reading their scripts. It involves so much. How is there a suggestion you have at how to work with that besides leaving it?
Well, I suggest Al-Anon. I think it's the biggest tool, the hugest tool to work with other people that you could possibly have. When to step in, when to back out, how to word it, how to, how to get them to tell you what it is they need to change in themselves. But Al-Anon really works, and I wanted to mention the 3 C's, regardless of who you're working with or what's going on, is to always remember, and this goes into powerlessness, I didn't cause it, I can't control it, and I cannot cure it. Whatever it is, those are the best, those were my early, Al-Anon 101. I didn't cause alcoholism. I didn't cause that person to do this, that, or the other thing. I didn't cause the way they see it. I can't cure it and I can't control it. And the only other thing I want to say is there's 2 forms. I can discipline with love, or I can try to control out of fear. And if fear is involved, that they're not going to do what I need, or something's going to... If fear is involved, I am going to move into positionality of control, which is not... And nobody wants that. But if I'm disciplining out of love, there's a whole... And I'm talking about treating myself. With my food, for instance, I've learned to discipline myself out of love, not try to control out of fear that I'm going to be heavy again or I'm going to blow it. Or no, there's no more fear. It's a disciplining out of love. A good parent disciplines out of love and kindness. The other ones are the 4 M's of Al-Anon. We don't manage, we don't mother, we don't manipulate, and we don't martyr. The 4 major stances that are not... Why? Because they don't work. When I had to manage my departments, on the film set, I discovered that if I went in and tried to work this way, across like this, Dulcie to this person, the barrier goes up, their fear goes up, their not rejection, but their immediately a wall goes up because it's this way. I have learned that I go up, I make an AA triangle. I use this through my whole career where something going on in River City, I walk in the makeup room, something's going on. I learned to go directly to God, directly to Spirit, and the way my kid was able to do that, or my spiritual adult, was to see the AA triangle. And instead of going across to the person to make the correction, or hear, what wasn't correct, I would go up to God, and I'd say, God, we got trouble here, I don't know how to handle it, I can't control it, I can't cure it, I can't fix it. And then I would allow Spirit to go down in this way and let God do the renature of the whole thing. And sure enough, then the dynamic that would come back this way from them to me, and it would be neutralized. I have seen people literally walk into my makeup room in a fury, maybe not at me, but just furious. They'd open that door, coming in like, and I'd go, and they'd turn around and they wouldn't even remember what they were about to say. It would be just like a magical thing. I have a girlfriend who's still a raging alcoholic, and she's in the daytime clearer than any one of us here in this room, sharp as a tack. But at night, don't mess with her because she's over the edge, So I learned to go in my room, and she used to like to rage with her roommate at night, and she'd go in and throw the door open, and I'd hear her start something. Well, one night that person was gone, and I was there, and she came in and she threw the door open. And I'm sitting there reading Joel, probably reading something, and she throws the door open and she puts her hands on her hips and she walks into my bedroom, and I go right up to God and say, but I didn't say, I'm in trouble, I'm scared of her. I said, she's in trouble, she needs your help. And she put those arms on her hips and she walked into that room. And she looked at me and she started to... And the next thing, there was a couch there, and she laid down on the couch and she said, I just love coming in this room. I can't do that, guys. All I can do is surrender. And she puts her feet up on the thing and puts her arms back. It's so nice to be here with you. Pretty soon she gets up and goes out and closes the door. You know, I can't make that stuff happen, you know, but I can allow it. I can receive it. I can turn it over. I can surrender. I can accept. I can forgive. She's asleep. She's drunk. You know, another word for sleep is drunk. They're just drunk. You know, when somebody's drunk, you don't go up and have a conversation with them. You're talking to the bottle, you know. And when they're hypnotized, you don't go up, have a conversation with them. They're hypnotized. But you can go into spirit. You can go into the nothingness. You can impersonalize. You can allow it. You can be still. You can go within. You can know I and my Father are one, and if it's true for me, it's true for them. They just don't know it yet. So those are some of the things that I couldn't do this. I had to do this and that. And they invariably, people will come back within a few hours sometimes and tell you exactly the change that you wanted to tell them. You can play with this, but, you know, oh, I need to tell them such and so, but I know it's not going to sit right with their ego, you know. Speaking of ego, this is such a cute one. Out of, again, back to Farini. I think this was yesterday. Let's see. One of the most important spiritual practices is to let things be as they are without interpretation, without embellishment, and without judgment. In other words, let's don't make them wrong for having made whatever mistake they're making. But here's the cute part. That immediately gives the ego a coronary. Imagine telling the ego it cannot judge, compare, or interpret. What then is it going to do? It doesn't really know how to do anything else. Of course, as soon as we try to tell the ego not to judge, a whole new layer of judgment comes up, and the layers are endless. But that's why the process is so rich. So, I of my own self cannot possibly correct another person, especially get them to do what I want. They're just going to hate it. You're going to hate me, you know. But Spirit knows how to make the corrections. So I go to God and I say, this is what is needed. Can you tell that person, you know? And it may be somebody that isn't going to ever do it, and they might have to be let go of. But, you know, it's just, but it's hard. It's hard to do it this way. I got to go like that. Up and down. What's the matter with you today? He's getting, the door's open, right? Yeah, Thanksgiving. So, okay, anybody else want to pitch in there? Are we clear? Did we get our money's worth?
Hey, Dulcie, it's Edie.
Yes, Edie. Yes, Edie.
You know, I'm getting a lot out of this workshop. I mean, a lot. My mind is just all over the map. And I really like that we started off with the Joel tape on Friday night as God consciousness individualized. And then I really felt it on our first imagery meditation yesterday. And something that just totally came through for me was compassion. And then the boat meditation, that image, it was the same person, was my dad. And it came to me that my dad was God individualized. And it's funny you said about Barbara Muhl, whatever it is you're attached to will be taken away. Because my dad was taken away.
That wasn't quite. No, that wasn't the quote. The quote is, "Break all attachments, or they'll be broken for you." It doesn't mean they're taken away. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But go ahead.
But anyway, even though he's not here, I still feel that. And that's the part when I'm starting to get the click that physically he is not here, but the love is there. That is God consciousness realized. And it's funny because my body can't contain it. It's like exploding right now.
Yes, yes.
And it's kind of funny because, I've been doing the script work. I've done the Artist Way. I'm still working on the Artist Way. I started it last year this time, and I'm still doing the morning pages, and I'm getting a lot out of it. And I'm at the point where I'm just letting things just be. I used to think that being in music, to be successful, that you had to be passionate. And I'm finding that that's not so. I just do what it is that I do in the small increments that I can. And it's kind of funny because it's been coming back to me in places that I didn't even imagine. Because one of my scripts is, as far as being accepted, I'm always the outsider. And even in this kind of film, I'm not a 12-stepper. So it's...
Oh, that's you. Well, you better start. You need to start drinking, girl.
I was drawn to this work from a friend who was doing script, and I just saw the workbook there and opened it, and there was just something about it that just drew me to this work. It just rang true for me, and I've been just grateful for it ever since. But the thing of it is that really helped me. I feel like I'm getting somewhere deeper. You mentioned about a kid holding on to that identity, and I associate that identity as, as being human, being of this earth, and the fear of death. I mean, death it's been coming up for me a lot lately, and there was something I heard in what Joel was speaking about death, and I don't know it yet, but I feel I'm onto something. That's why I'm grateful that it's also on the website, because I'm going to be listening to that more. Because in our meditations, I could feel that the love is there, that the fear is starting to subside. I'm not there yet. And then the other assignment for this morning that I felt is, if I took the script away, what would I be? I would be awake. Is what came to me.
Beautiful. Awesome. That is
so. Yeah, it's all a jumble right now, and that's also another script that I have is my inability to articulate how it is that I feel, but a lot of my intelligence is not being able to express it verbally. I just can feel it. It's actually in my music as well. What I do, everything is on a feel basis. Everything that I do at my job, which is also a technical job, I don't know how it is that I'm doing it. I'm just guided to that, and I'm learning to trust that. So, and that's not individualized as me, as how my process is. So it's kind of cool because I'm feeling the acceptance come in. I don't have to do anything but get out of the way.
Wow, thank you so much. And I'm going to quote you. Who would I be without my script? I'd be awake. That's as simple as it gets. Fantastic. That is fantastic. That's who I'd be, awake. And you can go ahead and be afraid of death if you want, sweetie, because there isn't any anyway. Sorry. Sorry. But go ahead. You can be afraid of it. Yeah.
Hi, this is Kathy. Can I just chime in for one quick second?
Yes, Kathy.
Kathy Crawley.
Yes, hi, hon.
I just wanted to the light bulb isn't going off like it's as if it's fireworks going on on so many different parts of this class. I'm just wanted to share how grateful I am for this class, and just, it's just like you say, you hear it a different way. That's why there's different languages. Everybody needs to hear it. And there's just certain things that you've been sharing that, wow, I never looked at it that way. And it's just been so helpful. I've had so much, especially the last year, just hating myself. And that's always kind of been my thing, is this inability to forgive myself. But a couple of things you said, or a couple of things that shared and in the meditation, what have you, have really brought just some clarity about it all. And so I just wanted to thank you. I think my phone is going to run out of juice any second, so that's all I want to say at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Debbie.
So a couple things. I spoke with Adele this morning, because what she said yesterday really rang true. Like, if I'm basically selling my kid out, it's all that people-pleasing stuff. I'm killing myself for the approval of my coworkers. The way she put it, I wrote it down. She said, I'm holding my breath all day at work, and at the end of the day, I'm going up for the only oxygen the kid knows, which is food. And that just, hit me. She just does that arrow to the heart, that gift, that you have too. It was like, absolutely. All day long, I'm just like, oh, God. And then I get out, it's like I have to anesthetize, eat and get in my bed, and that's it. And so she asked me this morning, and it reminds me of what you're saying, the attachments, and she said, are you willing to lose the job? And I went into the same terror that I went into when you gave this assignment. It was funny, I was talking to Ann last night, who would you be without your script? Ann was like, I felt so light and airy when I heard that, and I'm like, I went into total panic. It's just like the same question and different experiences, like perception. And because I instantly, with this homework, I went to oh my gosh, I probably have to get a new career. I have to live in a different state, maybe a different country. I have to, I went into all the doing, because I'm so good at that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like a horse that's been trained, by my father primarily to do and accomplish and school. You know what I mean? And when I'm hearing I was looking forward to hearing everybody's answer to the homework. When I'm getting the same answer in different words, they would just be. They would be free. They would be awake. Being free was like the word that resonated with me, and like Edie said, awake. So I'm not hearing anyone saying that they would physically do something.
Right.
They would just be, and that's always been the hardest thing for me to do, is just be. So anyway, I instantly said to Adele, because my kid has to clarify, I'm like, so are you saying that the answer is to quit my job? She's like, no. And I was like, I said, are you saying that the answer is to be willing to lose the job if that's the price I pay for being authentic? She's like, yes. Awesome. And that's way easier said than done, but no, going into work, knowing that I genuinely want to shed the script and not read be compassionate and not read other people's scripts, that they should be doing it better, and drop my script and not be defensive when I feel like they're saying I could be doing it better, right? I really genuinely want to make those changes, but take my kid off the hook of it's okay, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. We'll still do those actions and be more of a team player and be kinder towards people. You don't have to be perfect. And if the result of that is losing your job or not staying in the cath lab, maybe moving to another department, that instantly just takes my kid off the hook. Because I've been going into work every day feeling like, I can't lose this job. I can't lose this job.
Right.
So just being willing to, and I always hear people share stuff like this, and it's once they're willing to lose it, then it always seems like the outcome is that they don't lose it,
right.
But it's just that, it's like, Ann and I were talking yesterday, once you give up on finding somebody, you meet, the love of your life, it's just, it's like that dropping all those, I guess, resistance behaviors, it's what they are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Surrender.
The other thing I just wanted to put out there, because I know you're a little bit of hostage here for a little while longer. Do you think maybe I don't know, everyone seems to get so much out of it, doing a weekly kind of kid class or taking kid class or something. I mean, just while you're here, it would be awesome.
Well, we'll think about that. We'll put that in the hopper. Okay, my favorite thing all day is who would you be without your script? You'd be awake. I love it, and thank you so much. Yes, Lynn?
It's also an illusion. I mean, this is a good way to put it, an illusion that we can control other people, or an illusion, a fantasy that we can
make...
change
somebody or
change something or something, even at work. I mean, I like that because I have this thought process that if I control and make it all okay, then I'm going to be better. And it's my kid.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's just such an awareness. Such an awareness to like turning to. I appreciate that so much.
Let God be God. Let God be God. You know.
Home,
come home.
Here. Wow.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the general thing that from the whole work thing and what you guys are talking about is starting the backing it up and starting, at least for me, my day with as much spiritual adult and going in there and isn't that what, you were just kind of talking about, or what you were talking about is going in with as much adult in gear and leaving the kid behind as much as possible, and then people react differently to you.
Yeah. Yeah, if I lead with my kid, I'm dead. If you're going on dates or anything like that, do not lead with the kid. You're in deep doo-doo. Do not lead with the kid when you're trying to go to a workplace. Always lead with spiritual adult. Take care of your kid. Put her back behind you saying, Mommy's going to take care of this. You don't have to. It's just my job. Don't worry about it. We're going to color when I get off or whatever it is.
I have this vision of my, Go
ahead.
of my spiritual adult laying down and my kids standing up going, whoops. Where's my spiritual adult's been sleeping all day long while the kid's gone?
The kid's running the show. Don't let the kid thinks they can control, because the kid's always in fear, and if the spiritual adult is in love, Yeah.
Just, death.
Debbie's speaking now.
Yeah, sorry. So about death,
death.
Yeah, and of course thinking about what she said, that under attachment, codependency is what underlies attachment. And so I was thinking about one of my biggest fears is to lose my mom, and then I was thinking about that pain, and I know Francesca was talking about her dog, and she's that when the death of someone or something that you have a deep love relationship with, how do you have that without the codependency and without the huge sense of loss when the carcass is dropped or the vehicle is dropped, as you say?
Well, the awareness that we're all going to die. Hello, good morning. We're going.
Right.
We're going to drop it. It's going to happen.
And there will be a sense of loss.
And there will be.
There will be a big hole in your life depending on how big a part of your life that person was. And so you do the grieving process.
Yep.
Not the dependent process.
Yep. It'll happen. But we get through it. We break legs. We lose people.
One of my favorite lines from a letter I've got of Bill Wilson is, he says that death or especially a funeral should be treated as graduation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this life is only just a long day in school.
And it's to rejoice for the other person's moving on rather than my loss. It's about, hallelujah, they get to move on, graduate to the next level.
Right.
But if I'm thinking only about me and what I'm losing, but no, oh wow. Like when Bud went, wow, he went like that. And I'm like, I rejoiced that he didn't have to suffer and go through this thing that was heading his way, physically. It was like, wow, he made it out in the coolest way, And there was a miss, but there wasn't any grieving, because from the time I just came in from the childhood knowing we all going to do that. Mm-hmm. So I never attached to that we wouldn't. that we'd have it forever. So, and we all come in with different things. So, we're going to repeat the website for those who there. Francesca, are you on there, honey? Okay, I'll call her later. All right. The website is leela.org/Dulcie's with an S class, capital D for Dulcie, capital C for class. And then is it dot HDM.
HT.
Oh, HTM.
As in Tom.
As in Tom, HTM. Okay. And if you haven't set your fee in yet, send it to Dulcie Smith, care of 1900 Manhattan Avenue, Hermosa Beach, 90254. And if you haven't paid... Yes?
Two A's in Leela.
Yes.
Two E's, two L's.
2 A's. Yep.
2 A's.
I'm sorry. 2 E's, 2 A's.
And 2 L's.
Leela. 2 A's, 2 E's. Yes. Thanks, Norma.
Thank you, Dulcie. Thank you so much for a brilliant class. Really, really got a lot from it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to end with a sealing of meditation. Any other questions? Anybody have any needs?
Besides pockets.
Besides, my dog is going crazy over here, guys. I think he finally hit him that he doesn't have all his friends to play with. God,
He wants to slide the front door.
Anyway.
Dulcie,
Yes?
it was priceless. An answer to, did you get your money's worth? It was priceless.
You got your money's worth? Yay! Okay. Sounds good. I got my money's worth too. Okay. Love all of you so much. And anybody want a chihuahua? He's going real cheap right now.
Aww. He wants up the front door.
He wants out that door. Okay.
He got his contract.
I'm thinking about
he
it.
has his contract. Thank you.
And Nancy will take the dog. Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm thinking about it.
All right, honey.
No, Auntie gets the dog.
Yeah, Elizabeth gets the dog. All right. Let's just put a seal on it. Lee, did you want to say anything? It's the quietest I've known him. Miss Mouth is here.
So much wonderful yin energy, I don't want to disturb it with any yang. It's so beautiful.
All right.
My ripples.
Thank you all for joining. I loved every minute of it, and healing along rapidly, and I'm sure this has helped. Advance me at great paces. All right. Let's go within. Let's be awake. Let's drop the kid. Let's drop the concept of anything we're holding in fear, anything we're holding that doesn't consist of love. And let's be aware of I, the I of my being, and gently slip behind I into the depth of silence, my God's indwelling place. And we be still, and we surrender, and we accept, and we forgive, and we are grateful for living at this time on the planet Earth. And we rest knowing the government is on God's shoulders. Okay, thank you so very much. Have a beautiful rest of the Sunday. And know I love you, and I've enjoyed every minute of your company. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dulcie. This is magnificent.
Okay.
Thank you. Love you.